Most of us have lived through this cycle, the midnight decision to fix every mistake in our lives by sunrise. We plan to wake up early, exercise, eat perfectly, and work harder, all starting tomorrow. This impulse is fueled by a constant stream of digital highlights showing overnight wealth and sudden dramatic success. It creates a quiet expectation that change is a switch we can simply flip. We call this the overhaul fallacy. It is the attempt to repair a life by changing every variable at once. We treat our routines like software that needs a total rewrite, rather than a system that needs a single, stable anchor. Pursuing this level of immediate change practically guarantees a crash. The brain treats a total routine shift as a threat to its safety, eventually forcing us back into our old, comfortable patterns. Alex was a man who lived at the center of this trap. He was smart and capable, but he spent years stuck in a loop of starting and quitting. Every few months, he would try to rebrand himself. He attempted to wake up early, learn to code, and cut out every distraction. For 3 days, he would be a hero. By day 4, he was exhausted. High-friction motivation is a finite fuel. Demand your willpower carry the weight of a new life, and the tank runs dry in a week. Alex repeated this cycle 17 times. 17 broken promises left him with a quiet belief that he wasn't capable of change. His failures had nothing to do with a lack of character. He was simply trying to run a marathon using a fuel meant for a 10-meter sprint. After his 17th failure, Alex stopped fighting. He sat in the silence of his room and realized his grand plans were preventing his progress. He realized that a seed doesn't become a forest by trying to grow 10 feet in a day. It begins in the dark, performing one small, invisible task, growing a single root. He decided to ignore the big picture and focus on a single 5-minute task. He chose to read 2 pages of a technical manual every morning. That was it. No lifestyle rebrand, no early morning gym sessions, just 2 pages. This is a low-friction habit. It requires so little motivation that it becomes nearly impossible to find an excuse to skip it. By lowering the bar, he was actually training his brain to trust his word again. He was proving to himself that he could start a task and actually finish it. For the first month, nothing looked different. He still had the same job, the same room, and the same struggles. His friends didn't see the 5 minutes he spent reading. They only saw a man who seemed to have stopped trying for the big breakthrough. This is the quietest phase of growth. It is the endurance required to keep showing up when progress is invisible and no one is there to validate the effort. But the 5 minutes began to spill over. Once he mastered those 2 pages, he found he had the mental energy for 10. Those 10 pages led to a certification course. The discipline he built on a 5-minute foundation was now carrying much heavier loads. This was the bridge he had been missing. The 5-minute habit wasn't the end goal. It was the weight training for the discipline he would need later. A year later, the results of that quiet expansion were undeniable. Alex was no longer the erratic man who quit every project by day 4. He had used his new technical certifications to move into a role with more responsibility. He moved with a level of confidence that came from a year of never breaking a promise to himself. People at his new office asked him for his secret. They wanted to know about his hacks or the extreme routine they assumed he followed to get ahead so quickly. They were disappointed when he told them about the 2 pages. They were looking for a miracle, but he was offering them math. Success is an emergent property. It is the result of small, ordinary actions that have been allowed to compound in silence. If your life feels stuck, the answer is likely not a more complex plan. It is a simpler one. Stop waiting for a surge of motivation to overhaul your world by Monday morning. You don't need a hero's journey. You need a 5-minute victory. Pick one habit, one that feels almost too small to matter, and protect it with everything you have. Let the neighbors laugh at your slow pace. While they wait for the perfect moment to change everything, you'll be busy becoming unshakable, one small, quiet page at a time.